Today, we're diving into one of the wildest corporate stories you'll ever hear. It's the secret origin of Walt Disney World. And trust me, it's a story packed with vision, so much secrecy, and a land grab so massive it literally changed the map of Florida forever.
So, let's just start with this number, 43 square miles. That's how big Walt Disney World is. I mean, it's not just an amusement park, it's practically a kingdom. The real question is, how in the world did one company manage to buy up that much land without anyone knowing? To really wrap your head around that size, just look at this. The land Disney bought is about the same size as the entire city of San Francisco. Yeah, a major American city. So the question isn't just how they pulled it off, but why on earth they needed to.
And that, right there, is the big mystery we're going to solve today. This wasn't just some boring real estate transaction. No, this was a full-blown, covert operation. It feels way more like a heist movie than a chapter in a business textbook.
Okay, so to understand the why, we have to rewind the clock to the 1960s, back to Disney's first park out in Anaheim, California. Now, Disneyland was a huge hit, no doubt, but for the guy who dreamed it all up, Walt Disney, it was also becoming a huge headache.
See, here was the problem. Walt was completely boxed in. He had zero room to expand. And even worse, he had no control over what was popping up right outside his gates. You had all these cheap-looking motels and tacky tourist traps, and they were killing the magic. He swore that his next big thing, which he codenamed the Florida Project, would be different. He needed total control, and for that, he needed what he called the blessing of size.
And that brings us to the heist itself. To get all the land he dreamed of, and to get it at a price he could actually afford, Walt knew he had to move in absolute secrecy. I mean, if anyone got a whiff that Disney was the buyer, land prices would have shot through the roof overnight.
And the plan was executed perfectly. First, Walt's flying over Central Florida and spots this perfect patch of land, thousands of acres of basically cheap swamp near a new interstate. Then, for about 2 years, his team starts quietly buying up every little piece of land they can, using dozens of fake company names. But, you can't buy up an area the size of a city without somebody noticing. And by mid-65, the local reporters were sniffing around until finally the cat was out of the bag.
The amount of secrecy they maintained was just incredible. The locals had no idea who was buying all this land. The rumors were flying, people were guessing it was Howard Hughes, maybe the Ford Motor Company. Some even thought it was NASA building some secret rocket facility. Literally nobody suspected it was the guy famous for Mickey Mouse. By the time the truth came out, it was too late. The operation was a massive success. All in all, they'd snapped up over 27,000 acres for a grand total of just $5 million. I mean, today, that land alone is worth billions. It's just staggering. Let's just break that down. They paid, on average, $180 an acre, an unbelievable steal. And it was only possible because they kept the whole thing under such tight wraps. It was a total checkmate. But getting the land, that was only step one. Remember, Walt's goal wasn't just about having a lot of space. It was about having total control. He didn't just want to build another theme park. He wanted to build his own city, run by his own rules. So the key to this whole thing was this really clever, kind of obscure legal tool called a special district. Basically, you can think of it as a private government. This would let Disney build and run its entire resort. We're talking roads, power plants, fire departments, building codes, everything, without any outside interference from the local counties.
It was just a brilliant 4-step plan. First, you secretly get the land. Check. Then, you go to the Florida state government and promise them a massive economic boom. Check. The state agrees, and they create something called the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which basically handed Disney the keys to its own kingdom. Total, absolute control. It had never been done before.
But there's a really poignant, kind of tragic twist in this story of incredible ambition and success. The one man whose vision drove this entire secret project, well, he would never actually get to see it finished.
Walt Disney died in 1966, right after all the land was bought, but before a single shovel hit the ground. His older brother, Roy, actually put off his retirement to make sure the project got built, and he insisted on naming it Walt Disney World to honor his brother. But then, so tragically, Roy himself passed away just a month after the park finally opened in 1971.
Even so, their vision was brought to life on a scale that's almost hard to imagine. Today, Walt Disney World is an absolute economic juggernaut. We're talking 50 million visitors a year. It pulls in around $10 billion in revenue annually. It's just a stunning testament to a plan that was as risky as it was brilliant. And all of this leaves us with one last really fascinating question to think about. You see, the park we know today is actually just a tiny piece of Walt's original, much grander vision for a real futuristic city. It really makes you wonder, what would this incredible kingdom have become if the man who dreamed it all up had been there to see it through?